Can you hear me? So, I'll let Keith, who's part of the Rhino team, tell you what's in the vault in case you don't know, but then I want to get off the stage and talk to you because I just want to have a one-on-one. Questions, answers, all that stuff. You don't need me to make speeches. So, do they know what's in it?
So those of you who don't know, GeneSimmonsVault.com, it's the largest box set of all time, made of metal and wood. Gene demanded it would be super heavy, and it's super heavy. Inside, you get the book. The book features 11 CDs of unreleased material, 167 unreleased songs, photos and notes from Gene's personal archive, a bunch of unreleased photos you've never seen before, plus, is it 5,000 words? Or is it 50,000 words?
50,000.
50,000 words, all specifically song by song. Gene sat down and told the stories behind each of the songs here in the book. Behind the book, you have the first ever non-makeup Gene Simmons action figure, which up close, it looks a lot like Gene. And if you take it out the package, which I know none of you ever will, collectors never take them out of the package, but if you did, the leather jacket feels like leather, and the jeans feel like jeans, and the boots are a replica of a pair of boots that he wear.
And the schmeckle?
And his schmeckle is huge. Thankfully, I don't know what the real guy schmeckle looks like, but the doll has a huge schmeckle. And we spent 9 months just developing the action figure. Gene was like, make it better, make it better. So he wanted to have it be the best that it could be. And so you get that. Over here, you get a two-sided coin. It's in Latin. And this one seems to be glued into the vault. There we go. On one side, if it says in Latin, if it's too loud, you're too old. On the other side in Latin, it says, in Gene we trust. And it has all the iconography that Gene designed the coin as well.
And on the other side, it says, I promise I'll pull out.
And down the bottom here is one of the super special features of the vault. It's the secret compartment. It's a gift from Gene. It literally is a gift from Gene. Gene and I went through his basement, his attic, his storage space, opening boxes that hadn't been opened for decades, and found a collection of just completely highly collectible, deeply personal things, way out of print merchandise that's worth a lot of money, all kinds of stuff, and each of them are hand-packed, and it literally is random. You don't know what you're going to get, and I'm not going to surprise. I don't know whose vault this is, so I don't want them to know what's in it. So again, limited edition, hand-delivered by Mr. Gene Simmons!
Thank you for giving me the clap. I appreciate it. See what I did there? Wow, Australian red-headed people. Oh, hello. How the fuck do you say that word? Hello? The reason I wanted to not get up and strum guitars and do all that stuff is because I want to get closer to you, because for all of us in the band, this is like, it's going to be the last time we're going to tour, really. She's from Japan. You don't know how nuts this chick is. Anata wa uskoshi. Do itashimashite. That means, can I have a pastrami on right? So I want to really just engage with you guys to find out what it is you've got in mind, because, I'm up on stage all the time. If you have anything to say, just grab the mic. You want to talk? Oh, here she comes. Who, what, when, where, how? You're coming? Oh, you're giving. Okay. Here's a young lady with a nice, can't say top anymore because you can get sued. Don't be shy. Go.
Hey, Gene.
Right in the mic. Be a leader.
Hey, Gene. How you doing?
Outstanding.
Tommy, my wife Star from New Jersey.
You married up.
I know I did. Where do you think the last show on the coming tour is going to take place? Where would you like it to take place?
Honestly, we don't know. This is going to be a 2 to 3 year tour. I suspect 3 years. We're going to go to every part of the world, places we've never been to, Africa, Asia, stuff like that. I don't know where the last show is going to be, but...
Where would you like it to be?
In my living room.
When are tickets going on sale?
I really don't know where we're going to play. I'm making it up. I don't know. Shea Stadium. I don't know. Someplace. But somebody comes up to you and says, hey, wow, looks like you're having the best party in the world. What time do you think it's going to end? I don't know. It's going to end when it's going to end, and hopefully along the way everybody has a great time. I wish I could answer it. I'm not being coy, because I'm not a fish. See, a coy fish. Thank you.
We have another question here.
I wanted to know what inspired you to write the 27 book.
It's a sad state of affairs. I was judgmental about stuff, and I didn't understand depression and all that. I'm on video, you can YouTube it, people are talking about this guy that wants to jump off a roof, and like an idiot I'm saying, I'm the first guy. What is this, you're holding a press conference that you're going to jump? Fuck's sake, shut up and jump. But I didn't understand the nature of depression and all that. You can be rich and famous and self-destructive at the same time, and literally hear voices inside which I didn't understand. So some of the most famous names and faces in history have either numbed themselves with drugs and alcohol or succumbed to suicide. Jim Morrison, Janis Joplin, Jimi Hendrix, Kurt Cobain, Amy Winehouse, even the Elephant Man from the 1800s. Some of it is drug use. There weren't enough people who loved them around them to say, don't do that. We care about you, just have a conversation. And some of it is they're just not equipped, either medically or chemically and so on. And so what I hoped the book would do was to have just the conversation, because there are little kids who are committing suicide because they're bullied on social media, and if the only thing they have is somebody to listen and talk to, including that person about to jump from the roof of someplace, just somebody to say, hey, what are you doing? That's it, I had a shitty day, I'm done. He goes, yeah, me too. What do you mean, you too? Yeah, I had a bad day too. Just that conversation, you could be saving lives. I hope that the good that comes out of the book is we should be talking about this stuff, and we don't. We talk more about what Kim is wearing and what selfie somebody was talking. That's what we talk about. And look at that dress that Meghan Markle was wearing, and it's the same one that Pippa was wearing. What the fuck? Let's talk about important stuff, which is our kids, our next door neighbor, husbands and wives could be in a life-threatening situation. And that's the end of my tirade, because I don't want to get too tirade. Gotta read books to know why that's funny. Hold on, let's not wait for them. I'll do this. Take it.
Thank you.
Reporter.
Hi, Jean. I'm from Canada. I hear you like Canadian women. Awesome. So, growing up, years, 80s, Jean, you always said, don't do drugs, don't do drugs. And I think you might know where I'm coming from, just coming from Canada, where we legalized.
I have a cannabis company called Invictus.
Right.
Yeah.
So, can you square that circle for me
Sure.
to understand that, so that what I
You
can
bet.
tell my kids, because when I was a kid
You have
growing
kids?
up,
You're 12.
I'm 50 this year, babe. So,
You and I have never. I'll tell you the God's honest truth. No jokes, which is difficult for me because I am a fucking joke. See what I did there? I have espoused a drug-free and alcohol-free life for myself. So if I say I'm against drugs, it doesn't mean you're against drugs, because if you have a headache, you're going to take an aspirin, and if you're going to have your tooth pulled, of course you're going to want drugs to numb the pain and do that stuff. So drugs are good for people, some. The problem is the abuse of it, the bad stuff, the opioids and the stuff, and heroin and so on. So I never wanted to be around that. There is a drug culture that's prevalent. It's supposed to be cool to do it. You're having a bad day, so everybody numbs themselves with pills, pain pills, and all that stuff. And that's dangerous. You're killing people. And so I'm against that. I don't think you have to be a rocket scientist to do that, and I haven't changed my opinion. However, I used to throw out the baby with the bathwater, which is to say, I was judgmental and arrogant about the whole idea that, yeah, marijuana is just like, no, it's not. And the more I started reading over the last 2 or 3 years about the research that's being done, it is undeniable that when you see in the research from researchers who have no cock in the game, that's like a rooster, who don't work for big pharma, and you see this little girl, 6 years old, with epilepsy, and not even internally, they rub a salve, a cannabis-based salve, and miraculously, seemingly, she gets cured. Okay? So big pharmaceutical companies don't like that because they can charge as much as $7,500 a pill because they're allowed to, and cannabis-based products are relatively cheap and seem to be doing an awful lot of work, a lot of good. John Boehner, who's the former Republican head, was no longer in government, recommended to the Pentagon to make cannabis-based products available to all returning vets to cut down on PTSD and all the related injuries, mental and otherwise. And the latest report today that I read is that cannabis-based products actually can get opioid users off the drug. It curtails, it stops the need for it and the shaking, and it doesn't make you want it. And in terms of recreational use, if cigarettes are legal, it might give you cancer, for fuck's sake. Even if you're smoking, doing stuff, and I never have, and I've never had anything in my nose other than my finger. It's true, sometimes two, because it goes deep. If the worst thing that can happen is you roll something, you might watch another, a day full of Littlest Hobo. It's a Canadian show about
Good
a dog.
reference. Well done. Nice.
Or Sergeant Preston from the Yukon, way before your time. Or Republic of Doyle. These are all Canadian shows. Or I Love Lucy reruns. Or you might reach over for a Kit Kat, but you're not going to beat up your wife. As opposed to alcohol, where there are pieces of clothing that describe what happens when you drink too much. It's called a wife beater. It's exactly the name of it. Drink, and you can go to a bar and drink too much, and it's actually called a bar fight. So if that stuff is legal, I had a change of heart. I said, this stuff should be on the menu of life. You don't have to have it. But if cigarettes are legal, how come cannabis-based products aren't? And they paid me $2.5 million and $10 million of stock. It's already legal in Canada in many ways. It is starting to be very slowly legal here because the legislators don't understand what it does. The people who pass the laws aren't researchers. Researchers would tell you what should be legal, as well they should, but politicians, as you know, aren't qualified to do much except fart through their oral cavity. Don't believe what they say. They have a self-imposed mandate. Their mandate is not necessarily to do what's good for you, but to get reelected. There's a difference.
We have another.
Thank you very much. You ever seen my impression of Elvis Presley? Ready?
Hey Gene, I'm Neil from Sarasota, Florida. Got a comment wrapped with a question. Your band, you guys all said you're going to do a few more years because of the costume and flying. It's not like the Stones, so you can do it, for another decade because it's harder. And I think everybody appreciates that it's tougher what you guys do. So that's the comment. The question is though, I think everybody in this room on this cruise are the huge fans have been with you for years, since the early 70s. Would you guys consider, even if you're not touring, doing a cruise every year after the tour is over? Isn't touring, it's something different. Maybe you can think about that as an option. And I'm sure
Are you a lawyer?
I'm a fan like everybody else in this room.
I appreciate it. You're a powerful and attractive man, but the real story is we don't know. It's really coming up fast. We know we didn't, if we're going to do anything like one last time, it's going to be as long as we can make it, because it's tough to say goodbye, the long goodbyes, because we've had the time of our lives. I know we're going to be like little kids whose mommies have run off from home at the very last show. We're going to be crying like, can you believe it? On the other hand, it's so celebratory that you can actually hopefully make some people happy and at the same time not espouse a lifestyle, a political belief, or anything. Just for the magic time of making people forget about the traffic jam and the fact that their girlfriend's upset at you because you fucked her sister and the other stuff. Anything's possible. I don't know, but I do know one thing, that I'm 69 now, and boy do I look good. But let's get serious. On the tour, before it ends, I'll be 72. And I don't want to wind up, neither do the guys, a pathetic shadow of what you were. Remember those words? The hottest band in the world. You know, remember when they used to be kind of, you know, there are some bands, it's not for me, there's some bands that actually sit for their entire performance as they're playing guitar. Yes. And they're sitting down. And, you know, I feel bad. It's like, get off this, you know when to quit. Have some self-respect.
Well, I don't think anybody thinks at 72 you're going to be a pathetic man at all. And I think everybody in this room would love to see you on this cruise ship. So my question is, I hope you'll just think about it when the tour's over. Saying, you know, we're done touring. Maybe for all these people that have loved you forever, we'll just do a kiss cruise. What does everybody think? Wouldn't we all love it? We would love it.
I appreciate it, and you know, life is actually going to happen while you're busy making your plans, and you try not to think too much about stuff. Let it be sort of natural, so there's no marketing company, and no, we're going to do this, because we've done pretty good being our own marketing company. But in essence, the real answer is, I don't know. But we are, people don't believe it, we are quitting touring at the end.
Thank you.
Mr. Simmons. I'm Anthony Ciano. I'm a chiropractor.
Hey Anthony, how you doing?
I'm doing well. I've been a KISS fan since 1976.
Tell me the truth. At home, when you were a kid, did they call you Anthony or just Anthony?
They just call me Anthony or Anthony.
Anthony, yeah. Because you're from Italy.
Italy, man.
Not Italy.
Not Italy. I've been a KISS fan since 1976. I've been a chiropractic patient since 1974. I've been a chiropractor for 26 years.
This is getting to a dangerous group.
Since you brought up the drugs and the opioids, we have a problem in this country where chiropractic is the first line of defense for pain, back pain, neck pain, tooth pain, and all the alternatives to opioids to keep people off. And my profession is constantly marginalized. In fact, the medical profession said if we recognize chiropractic for these kind of pains, we would legitimize the profession. Now, that makes the people who are suffering marginalized. They don't care about the patients who are suffering. Now, post-surgery, a little bit. But I've done my procedures. I've used laser, electrotherapy, chiropractic adjustments on those very post-surgical patients to keep them.
I know what some of the problems are.
Okay. But just the question I have is, can you lend your voice to help stop opioids?
Well, sure, all of us can by speaking out against it, and the more we talk about it, you know, the more aware we are, and the more you can force your legislators to move. But as regards the Medical Association and chiropractors, they control the playing field,
Yes.
you know, including big pharma and all that. So that there's the politics of that. There's a lot of money in there. And it seems to me they're looking at something that's unregulated. Anybody can be a chiropractor, set up an office. That's incorrect.
I'm licensed in the state
By
of New York,
whom?
by the New York State Department of Education. I've been licensed.
But you know what I'm saying. Here's the Department of Education and here's chiropractic. Is it medicinal or not?
My license is a limited scope license like dentistry and podiatry, though we don't do drugs or surgery. We are the largest natural health care.
But you and I know that there are so many variations of that, and there doesn't seem to be an accreditation company.
No,
It's not like the NBA.
Everything is accredited. We are licensed in 50 states.
So if you want
Everything. In order to be a chiropractor, you have to go to school. In order to be
To be
licensed,
accredited, you have to go to the Board of Education.
you have to stick for a state board and get past a licensing board, pay dues, and continue education just like the medical doctors. The only thing, we don't have a plenary license, we don't do drugs, we don't do surgery.
So what's the
We-
problem?
They don't want us to help people. That's the fact. They don't want us to help.
I wish I knew as much as you do about it, but I don't think I'm qualified enough to say. But I've met folks who call themselves chiropractors, who are bone crackers, and stick this needle over here and there. We don't know if it's real or not.
It is, and by adjusting the spine, you're affecting the nervous system. When the nervous system works better, the body heals faster.
Okay. The rest of them are saying, now what?
It's that simple. Really,
Okay.
it is.
You convince me, I'll find out more.
And in fact, if I can keep a person from even taking one opioid, that decreases their ability to being addicted to it. And isn't that the point? To stop the opioid? Because once they become addicted to an opioid, and the medical doctor decides, we're going to stop giving you the opioids, they go to heroin.
You're right.
And it destroys families, and costs millions of dollars in drug rehab, and people commit suicide.
I'm well aware of that.
So that's why. Because like you,
What should I do?
I don't do drugs and alcohol.
What should I do?
I can get you in touch with John Rosa.
Who's that?
He's a chiropractor who's
It's not going to mean anything. He doesn't have the power. You want
actually
the MDA to have some kind of...
he's on the federal government board for the opioid crisis.
Say, Gene.
He's actually got the ear of the federal government. I didn't want to bring it down.
Probably the best way to get anything done is to get the president to pay attention to it and
He
then to
did.
figure it out.
He's met with the president.
I have met with the
No,
president.
so has John Rosa.
Oh, John.
Yes.
Well, then you're all set.
What we need is celebrity, just like you, don't do drugs.
You know, the president does not. No drugs, no drinking. Not a political statement, just his lifestyle choice. Okay, it's stuff to think about. Thank you.
Because you're my hero.
You're my hero.
And I-
Without you, I wouldn't be here. But without me, you'd still be here.
I wouldn't be buying the ball from anyone but you.
I would.
Gene, do you want to take some time to start meeting people?
No.
All right.
Hi. I love you. I'm nervous. I'm nervous. Oh my God, I'm so nervous. Sorry. Okay, thank you. The song by Diana Ross, Upside Down, is that about you?
Upside down. Boy, you turn me
Yeah.
inside
Yeah.
out and round and round. No,
And so,
it's not about me. But she's a wonderful lady, you know.
yes, I do. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I know.
Yesterday we did an interview in New York, AOL something or other, and the young lady came forward and she said, okay, let's start. What should we call you? I'm Cher. You go, no, you're not. No, I know, I get this all my life. She was named after Cher. So what, Gene? So
And how is your mother?
she's great, 93. Rocky, I just talked to her because if I don't,
Yeah, I think of her all the time. And,
I do too.
And another question, Kiss Coffee House. I'm sure there's coffee floating around some warehouse somewhere. How can I get any more? It's been a while, I know.
We do have warehouses full of stuff. I don't know where the other Kiss Coffee houses are, though. I like that little blonde lady. Of course, I like them all. But we have a Rock and Brews restaurant chain, which is spreading everywhere. We have two at LAX and Cabo and Mexico and stuff. And there's lots more fun stuff coming. Unfortunately, can't do it all. Was that good? I liked it too.
Hi, I'm Lisa. I'm from Detroit.
What's up?
We just got married today, and I was wondering if you'd be in a wedding photo with us.
You were wondering if what?
If you could be in a wedding photo with us, because I live in the Kiss Cave.
Right now?
But yeah.
Well, sure. Hurry up. Congratulations. Young man, don't touch my ass.
Thank you so much.
Will Kiss do another studio album? That should be done.
No.
Monster was so good. You guys need to do one more
Nice
heavy album.
of you. The appeal of doing a studio record, it's just complicated by the fact that there's an entitlement generation who thinks they shouldn't pay for anything. Downloading files. Kiss is not a charity. I give a lot to charity, but there's a distinction. Because what you want is a freckle-faced kid saying, you have enough money. Bitch, I didn't ask you. So you make a distinction. This is what I do for a living. This is the charity and philanthropic work we do. Unfortunately, nowadays, entitlement generation thinks they should get it for free. There's no appeal for it for me. You work, and you want to get paid, and we work, and we want to get paid.
Hey Gene.
How you doing?
Great. This is our first cruise. I got a question. And
So far, is it okay?
It's amazing. Yeah.
Aren't the people, that's the best part of
It
this.
took me 3 years, but we got on.
This is our 8th. There's never been a single fight. How about that? You can go to your local bar and people kill each other. There's so, I don't know, I don't want to get too cornball and hippie on you, but this is like a love fest. People from so many different countries, everybody having a great time and just like get rid of the drama and just relax.
Yeah, this is my 24th cruise, but my first Kiss cruise. And you're right. I can tell you that, it's a cruise of love of all your fans. So, but first off, I got a comment and a question. My lovely wife and I, we're from Terre Haute, Indiana, and that is the home of the Kiss Army, as you know. So my comment would be, I have a suggestion where one of your last comments should be, obviously in Terre Haute, Indiana, for the Kiss Army fans. But my question is, do you have any unique memories from Terre Haute and the Kiss Army?
Lola. Not the other one, but the Coca-Cola. No, not that one. Just the. Pardon? What did he say? Don't know. Another didn't hear.
So yeah, Terre Haute is also known as the birthplace of the Coca-Cola bottle.
That's true, and it's also where
Columbia House.
The IndyCar, the Holman George family,
yes.
Came from, and
yes.
that's how I became the marketer at IndyCar.
And I went to Rose Holman University to an engineering school there.
Outstanding.
But Terre Haute's known for the Coca-Cola bottle, but most importantly, the Kiss Army, and it doesn't get enough credit for being home of the Kiss Army.
You're right.
January 1975, right?
I thought it was 1875.
Bill Starkey and Jay Evans.
Bill Starkey, yeah, that's right.
Absolutely.
If you don't know the story, very quickly, in those days, 75, 74, 75, Kiss
January
was not.
75.
Yes, and prior to that, Kiss was not played on the radio, and a young man called a small radio station outside of town that was literally a one-room shack way in the field, the cornfields. You have to play Kiss. Well, we don't play Kiss on this station. And he threatened the guy. He said, if you don't play Kiss, our Kiss Army will surround you. And of course he ignored him. And sure enough, at the end of the day, the newspaper headline, I still have it, Kiss Army surrounds KXYZ, whatever that is. And the Kiss Army was born. Yeah. We should go a few more, but then I want to spend time with you guys.
Hey, Gene. Gene, I'm Rob from New Jersey, and I just had a quick question for you. With you being involved in the cannabis industry in Canada, would you ever try to get involved in the United States, or maybe talk to President Trump and getting it federally legal?
Well, I know the president, socially, before he became president. I was asked to get involved politically, and I said no. By Hillary as well. I said, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to use celebrity, and I also think, generally speaking, celebrities should stay out of the fray. Otherwise, it's going to be... It's unfair, not because they don't genuinely believe in their political person, but because you're playing unfair. You have fans who will just do whatever you want them to do because you're famous. I told Katy Perry the same thing. You're sweet, I love you. This is bullshit. Get off the stage and just tell people to vote. Vote your conscience, whoever you want to vote for, because by the way, the person who disagrees with you, whatever side of the aisle, it's their America too. We don't have to agree. So, because I love the sound of my own voice, I forgot what the fuck the question. Oh, when I talked to President about legalization. Well, he does not personally, we've been out socially and everything, never saw him drink or smoke cigarettes or anything else. And he publicly says so. So I have no, he's surrounded by the body politic. You've got the House of Representatives and things, the evangelicals, these guys, those guys, Big Pharma, which is a lobbying group that does not want it legalized because they can charge more. So you're the president, the commander-in-chief. Not really. You can make certain moves and then you get blocked by other people who have other considerations. Would I be interested in getting into the medical field? It is true that I'm a doctor of love. I'm sorry?
Like how you do with Canada, like endorsing it kind of?
Cannabis is not going to be legal here, in my opinion, for 2-3 years easy until the next election cycle, because again, as I said before, the people who pass the laws aren't informed, and they're also beholden to the people who contribute to their campaigns, the lobbyists and so on. And Canada's a small country, and it's much more pliable. We've got 324 million people, tens of millions illegal immigrants as well. So it's very tough to get anything done. It's very difficult. I'm in so much trouble.
Gene?
Yes.
Hi, Gene. I'm Richard from Amsterdam, the Netherlands. I'm an
In Amsterdam? Godverdamme!
I'm an 8-time cruiser, but some
Right in
friends
here.
can't afford the KISS cruise. So I want to ask you, is there any place for some deep cuts on the end of the road tour?
We are thinking about a special concert in Scheveningen,
On the beach?
one of their cities.
I was there in 88.
Yes, I know. And the Nazis tried to sneak into Holland, but they could almost speak Dutch, but they couldn't pronounce Scheveningen, which most people say, God bless you. Yes, deep cuts. We're tossing around lots of songs that we're going to figure out. But at the end of the day, you also have to play the stuff people want to hear. So 10% of the folks who show up wanted an entire concert to the elder.
No, I think you're wrong.
See?
I think more than
There's one.
40% likes to.
30%. Based on what, sir? How did you do your
40 or
research?
50%.
How did you do your research? Where did you come up with that number?
No, but a lot of, there's a big KISS army still.
Well, but you can't use the word a lot. That actually, you can qualify and quantify that. Big words, that sort of means research tells you exactly how many. I know how many.
But there are also maybe 10% who sees KISS for the first time, maybe 20%.
No, my sense is there'll be over 40% that will see KISS for the very first time because of all the hoopla. I heard about it and all this. It's like when the circus comes into town, oh my God, I've heard about this, I gotta go see it. Because their fathers and their grandfathers and, everybody talked about it, and they're 15, so they may have heard about it, but I've never seen the show. I think there'll be 40% new folks and an increase of 20 or 30% female. Because Paul Stanley still looks good, baby. Are we getting there? I gotta start because there's 50 of you here. You're pointing?
We're there.
What about the blonde?
Gene, you've had such an interesting life. I'm wondering if you've ever thought of doing a movie about yourself? Or a movie about Kiss?
Well, there are 2 motion pictures being planned now about the band. We're talking about a Broadway play, a cartoon show, a religion called Christianity. There's a lot being planned. Movie about me, I mean, if somebody else was curious about, I couldn't. It's tough enough to sit down and write a book about yourself without being full of yourself. But if somebody else was interested in, sure. But me, okay, I'm gonna sit down and do a Gene Simmons movie starring and it's about me. It's a bit too self-serving. I think they call it self-aggrandizement. Should I stay here?
You should come up here.
Okay.
And Justin, head of security, is going to start lining you up. But just going to have numbers 1, 2, and 3 right here. Everyone else, listen.